All right, how many of you have family members who don't like going to the doctor? Or it's like pulling teeth trying to get them to go? Especially with elders and everything, a lot of our parents, grandparents. And some of them say they just want to be a bother. But majority of the time it comes down to cost. They don't have the money, they don't have things set aside, and they don't want to be a burden financially on their families. That's one thing that my family had to go through, is that my mother had several chest pains and breathing issues. Turns out she had a heart attack. We didn't know, because she didn't want to be a bother to anybody. My parents have money, but she doesn't want to waste money on something she didn't think she needed to spend money on. Because doctor's visits are expensive, specialists are expensive, medications are expensive. It's one of the biggest issues in America, really. And one way to possibly take care of that, or many people talk about, is universal health care. Now, universal health care is something that majority of the countries in the world have, but not in America for some reason. In most countries, you can go to the doctor for any reason. You can get seen, you can take care of, free medication, go home, you're fine. Now, how they do it is taxes. It's, in some countries in Europe, it's 12% tax, which sounds like a lot, but people went over there and asked them in interviews, how do you feel about paying 12% tax for your health coverage? And every single person they've asked said, great. And they asked why? You're spending more money. That's less in your pocket. How do you feel about that? Do you go to the doctor all the time? You're like, no, I don't ever really go to the doctor, but I can. If my child is sick, I can take them to the doctor whenever I feel like it. Just to know that they're okay, that security, that reassurance I have for my country having this coverage is comfortable for us. There's a case that I read about, this woman had an infected molar. And it wasn't severe enough for her insurance to pay for it, that she had. Because it was a benign thing and it wasn't a big issue to the insurance company. She was in pain, excruciating pain for a long time. And she had to wait until it became more severe. And in that time waiting, she got her entire jawline infected. It went down to the bone. And because of that, now it's an issue. Now it's something that they can actually take care of and they can cover, because now it's severe. By the time it was severe enough and they went through the process, getting it approved, getting it scheduled, getting it taken care of, she had part of her jaw taken off to remove that infection. For one of the most powerful countries in the world, one of the best doctors in the world, this should not be an issue in this country. But because insurance and the cost of medicine in this country, it is. It's a reality we all have to deal with. And universal health care could take care of that. And one way other countries in the world take care of universal health care issues is they limit how much pharmacies can charge you. They limit how much doctors can charge you. They regulate those things, especially life-saving medication. One thing that we have a problem with in Native communities is diabetes. We all know somebody who deals with diabetes on a daily basis. Insulin is necessary for these people. It is a life-saving medication for them. Yet, out of pocket, it can run you between $500, $1,500, $3,000 a month out of pocket if you do not have insurance. In other countries, $5, $10. Now, it's the same exact medication. It just costs more in America because Americans can pay more for it, because there's no regulations on that in this country. People in this country don't realize how much free capitalism and having no restrictions on these companies affects all of us. That is a big issue that other countries have dealt with, that hopefully this country does at some point. Universal health care will take care of that, and you might be thinking, how do we get that? How do we make that happen here? And it's not an easy process. And the main way is legislation. The government has to make that a change. We have to make the government make that change. And either run for political office yourself, find someone who is running that you support, vote for them, or get people to vote for them. Because we have to have a change within our government in order to see these things happen, in order to stop these things from happening to other people. Pharmaceutical companies and and big pharma in general have a stranglehold on these things because they fund people who push down universal health care. Take Affordable Care Act, or what people call Obamacare. That was a half-step measure where it tried to force people to get insurance and made it more affordable, yes, but it penalized people for not having it. So a lot of people didn't like that. They don't like being forced to do things they don't want to do. So it had a lot of pushback, and it still does today. But the closest thing we have in the country to universal health care is Medicare and Medicaid. Also, those things are limited. How much they pay, what's approved, what medications you get. There's medications that could help you or your family member, but it's too expensive. So they'll give you the generic version, which won't cure it. It won't do as much help, but it'll do a little bit, because that's all they want to give you. All these medications cost about the same. It's just they're labeled differently, compared to what's approved for poor people and what isn't. That's generally the way these things are looked at by these companies. So, really the only thing I could think of is legislation. You push through this, and the biggest way is social media. Social media is giving people today the opportunity to put your opinion out there, to share opinions of those who support like-minded ideas. You can go on pages of people who push these ideas and want to run for offices and want to do these things. The way that tech and big pharma companies push their agenda and their people to get out there is they fund their campaigns. They buy TV ads in newspapers and magazines. Nowadays, you can counter that by just sharing on social media to get someone's message out there, to get someone's opinion out there, to get what they stand for out there. And then they don't need millions of dollars in contributions or big companies supporting them. Social media itself can be used to spread messages, to spread awareness, to get the message out there. And it's a simple thing. We're all on social media all the time, constantly, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as long as it's around anyways, or Snapchat and other things. There are stories on these pages you can see from people you follow, people who have different opinions and stuff, and the pages that have these kind of issues and political things about them, follow the page, see what they have to offer. If you like it, share it, support it. And that's a simple thing you can do, is to share their message to get out to other people that might also agree with them. The more people have the same message, have their voices heard, the more likely things are going to change. And we can do that by simply going on social media and changing what's out there in the world. All right, that's my speech.